This is Lesson 5, Exercise 7E, determining the value of Pearson's correlation coefficient, dictated by the letter small r. The learning goal is how to use a calculator to determine Pearson's correlation coefficient. The success criteria is to be able to put in bivariate data into your calculator and obtain Pearson's correlation coefficient. As discussed in the previous section, when a relationship is linear and we don't have any outliers present, the most commonly used measure of strength of the association is Pearson's correlation coefficient, which is dictated by the letter small r. The formula for calculating r is as follows. This right here is what we used to use for correlation coefficient, and we had to work this out by hand. We have x and x bar just meaning the mean or the average, and s subscript x just means standard deviation, and s subscript y is a standard deviation for y. Now there's a lot going on with this within this equation. You would usually have to do this by hand, but luckily we can use our ClassPad calculator to be able to get this correlation coefficient r. There is a bit of work that you will need to do in order to get it, but the trickiest thing, and not really tricky, it's just tedious, is just putting values into your calculator. We will do this example below. The following data show the per capita income in thousands of dollars, being the context, and the carbon dioxide emissions in tons of 11 countries. We're going to use this data to determine the value of Pearson's correlation coefficient r for the given data. Here are the 11 different countries. We don't know which country belongs to which data point, and they aren't necessarily in order, but we want to see what the correlation coefficient r is to see if there's any strong or moderate or weak correlation, and whether it is positive or negative. The first thing we are going to do is we're going to open the statistics button, which can be found in your main menu here. When you click on this, you want to make sure that everything within here is clear. So we go into edit, clear all, OK. The next thing we want to do is we want to list the information given within this table into list 1 and list 2 accordingly. I'm going to put that information in now. I've gone ahead and put in the relative information into the lists, making sure that I press execute when I put the numbers in, so it is registered to the calculator, and also making sure that 11 countries have been put in, so I know that I've gone up to 11. I don't want to see any more values within any of these columns. You always have to make sure, especially when dealing with bivariate data, that the number of values for each column match up. Once we've done that, and we've put in the data values, we're going to select the calc function here. When you click calc, there is a tab here that is called regression. You're going to press regression, and then you are going to press the first option here called linear regression. Here we'll have a set calculation table that opens up. By default, it should automatically choose list 1 and list 2. You're going to go ahead and make sure that the options there are the same. Just leave frequency as 1, and your copy formula and copy residual leave off. Tap OK, and here we are given 5 sets of values, but what's really important is we want to see what the corresponding r value is, which is the third from the list down. Here we can see that the correlation coefficient is 0.81, meaning that it is a strong positive an assumed linear association. So it's safe to say that there is a strong relationship between the CO2 levels in tons by the country that it's produced and the capita income that that country produces in dollar as well. This concludes Lesson 5, Exercise 7E, determining the value of Pearson's correlation coefficient. The questions that you are required to do is Exercise 7E. Everything within this exercise must be done on calculator, and it is for question 1 to 5. If there are any questions that requires you to show what you have done on your calculator, simply just take a picture of this and upload it onto Compass along with the relevant exercise. I will see you in the next video.